So I tell you, when we started building custom camper vans 4 years ago, I would have never guessed how fun this would be and how much variety goes in to what we get to do every day. Whether we're working on a Sprinter chassis, whether we're working on a Ford Transit, like in this case, or a ProMaster, but not only the chassis models we get to work with, but the different build out options, right? If you look at our website, our YouTube channel, we've traditionally built mini homes on wheels with showers and kitchens and beds. But once in a while, we get fortunate enough to be able to venture into other areas. In fact, right now, as part of today's video, we're going to be showcasing a new van called the Dan Moto van. This is a motorcycle van, and I'm actually sitting inside the garage area, and we'll talk a little bit about what all that means. We have another van that we're doing for a touring band where it's going to be a lot of seats, some bunk beds, a small vanity for the lead singer. So just getting to experience different variety and build different kinds of vans for different customers that want, various use cases has just been really, really cool. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start on the outside of the van, kind of walk you through some of the things we did for this customer, and then give you a full tour inside. This customer, as I mentioned, races motorcycles. And traditionally, he had to trailer his motorcycle to a racetrack. It's very unsafe when he's at the racetrack, leaving the motorcycle outside, and all the expense after coming off the track from a race of having to pack up in the heat, head to a hotel, check into a hotel, leave his motorcycle outside, and all those things. He came to us and asked if we'd be willing to get creative and build him a moto van, a motorcycle van, so he could come off the track and experience all the pleasures of home with a small kitchen and a cooktop and a fridge and a microwave, and be able to store his motorcycle indoors and shower and enjoy all the comforts of what he would traditionally have to rely on a hotel room for directly in this van. So super excited to show you this tour, and let's get started. All right, guys, so here we are on the outside of the van. As I mentioned, this customer brought this van to us as an empty cargo van, used, a bit older, and we immediately started with the external portions of this van. We knew we wanted solar, we knew we wanted shore power on this van. He needed some water tanks installed underneath the van to accommodate an indoor shower, his indoor sink, his outdoor shower. So up here on the roof, we have 300 watts of solar. We used extruded aluminum, used our partner Unaka, who provided the Fiamma brackets for us, which work incredibly well. We put in an F45S awning. It is a manual awning. And we went with these aluminum brackets, which are going to be way more sturdy. If he's out on the racetrack and gets a little wind, these brackets should hold up a lot better than the stock plastic versions. As we walk down the van here, we put in a 30 amp Furion shore power plug for him, so when he's at the track, he can leave his van plugged in, leave the AC running, leave his fan going, kind of help ventilate the van while he's out on the track, and when he comes back, he can walk into his van and be in a nice climate-controlled area. As we head around to the other side of the van, we have a water inlet fill here, which feeds into a 37-gallon spare tire mounted fresh water tank underneath the van. And we put this water tank on a heating pad with a switch inside the van. So as the temperatures cool down, or if he was ever to use this van in colder climates, freezing climates, he wouldn't have to worry about his fresh water freezing on him. All right, so we're gonna go inside the van now. If you've seen some of our other van builds, either on our website or some of our van tours on YouTube, we spent a lot of time on those vans with finish work, a lot of cabinet doors. We high pressure laminate a lot of structures. We edge band a lot of edges. This customer was more on a budget and really wanted something a bit more functional. So as you look at this design, way more open, less cabinet doors. We still did some high pressure laminating on the key areas of the van that we wanted to be more durable, less susceptible to dinging and easier to clean. But definitely more of an open design. We have some exposed extruded aluminum for some of the structures that we build, where normally we would cover those up in other van builds you may have seen from us. So again, This build was all about functionality rather than lots of aesthetics. So let's take a look. So as we enter the van, the one thing we like to do on most of our vans is apply some buttons and some plugs as you enter. And the reason for that is mainly a step light. So at night you can kind of enter the van more easily. Be able to turn your hallway lights on and off. And these hall lights and living area lights are on a three-way switch. So I can turn them on and off as I enter, and then when this client is in his bedroom, instead of having to climb out of bed, he can turn his living area lights off from the bedroom. We include a 12 volt USB plug here, iPads, iPhones, and what have you, as well as a 110 volt AC outlet for things like a laptop or what have you. This client also wanted a nice seating area, not only for him as he's coming off the track and taking off a heavy race suit, but to be able to chill out here, accommodate guests. We put a swivel seat on the passenger as well, again to accommodate more people that he may want to be entertaining in the van while he's out on the track. And this also benefits in that with a cushion or beanbag sort of structure here between the bench and the passenger, somebody about 6 foot tall could actually lay down here, and he provides that person with another sleeping option. This seat also doubles as a storage and his toilet. So if we pull this off here, we have a Trillino toilet here, separating toilet for this client to use, as well as a nice large storage area for a helmet or other gear that he may be taking with him while out on the track. We also put a back cushion here for additional comfort. So this turned out to be a nice little seating area here as he enters the van. That said, let's jump in and take a look at some of the other amenities. All right, so here we are at the kitchen galley. We're really proud of how this turned out. In such a small space, we actually were able to fit a lot of things in that this client really needed to have. He wanted the ability to cook out on the track, so we have an induction cooktop. We have a sink with a drop-in butcher block cover. So he's got his hot and cold faucet here, a soap dispenser, and he can increase his cooking area with this drop-in butcher block. In addition to that, we were able to put in a soft closed drawer for some of his forks, knives, and what have you, as well as a Tetravan shower, which will drop down to the floor, and a magnetic drape comes up to the ceiling and connects into these hooks that you may see here up in the ceiling, allowing him to shower inside this van, again, after coming off the track on a hot summer day. As I mentioned, as we entered the van, no cabinet doors. So what we did instead is we used a bungee system. These are extruded aluminum eye hooks that are compatible with our extruded aluminum structure and allows this customer to put things up here, not worry about them falling out. Again, sticking to the more budget-friendly theme of not a lot of finishes, exposed aluminum, but we did fill in the tracks with a color matching sort of plastic here, which kind of does still provide this with a nice finished look. And then a nice rail here to prevent things from falling off this top shelf, as he's traveling and commuting from his destination to destination. On the other side, above the bench seat, again, same concept, a nice bungeed system, allowing for more storage up here above the bench seat. So, he still gains from storage, but without the additional weight, expense of all the finishing cabinet faces and so forth. We have our Dometic RTX 2000 AC unit up here in the front of the van, and we have a Max Air fan towards the rear above the bed. So again, this is going to give this customer the ability to be out in the summer and enjoy a cool environment here in the van. We also have a bodega fridge, really cool fridge. It is a fridge freezer, so he can have ice up here, store some drinks, and it opens both ways, which is very unique. He can access it from the bedroom or he can access it from his living area. So that ended up being a nice addition here. We put shelves above his control panel, which is going to allow him to store water bottles and gear and whatever else he may need to take on his travels. Right above the shelving is a very simplistic system where we have our Victron BMS that allows him to monitor how his batteries are operating. We have a 2000 watt Renogy inverter control panel, so he can turn this on to run his AC outlets, his cooktop, and all his outlets. And we have his S-Bar heater Easy Start Pro controller, so that if he is in the cold months, he can enjoy some heat in this van that is completely independent of him having to run the engine and rely on heat from the van itself. And the S-Bar heater was installed below the passenger seat and is exhausted out underneath the van. All right, in the kitchen galley, we have a control panel here. We have our HappiJac hydraulic bed, up and down control. We have lighting for above the kitchen. We have a fresh water gauge that is a white dial. We have a gray water gauge on a black dial. The gray water gauge has a motorized ball valve, so the client will not have to leave the van to empty his gray water tank should it become full. We have our heating pad button here. The fresh water tank is on a heating pad, so if he pushes this, it turns red to indicate heat. Below that, we have our water pump switch on off, and we have our water heater timer switch. We like to put all of our water heaters on a timer switch. They are a big power draw in vans, and we don't want clients to accidentally leave their water heater on unnecessarily. So the client can choose how long they want the water to be heated for, and then know that it will turn off at the end of that time frame for which they need hot water. As we enter into this garage area, I'm underneath the HappiJac bed here. This garage area was reinforced with L-track, bolted through the floor of the van, and allows this client to roll his motorcycle up into this middle section. And we have L-track specific tie downs that will latch into the L-track. We have wheel chucks that prevent any sort of forward to rear movement of the motorcycle, and the motorcycle is bolted left and right into these L-tracks. The nice thing about this garage is the way we built these battery and water boxes is it, again, provides some additional seating. If he was just to come off the track and want to hang out with a friend, he could sit in here. If he wants to work on his motorcycle, he could sit here and have access to his motorcycle and work on that. All of these are high pressure laminated doors that are on magnets, and we installed some additional L-track here. So if he wanted to mount gear, bags, what have you, he's got some additional options on both sides of the garage to be able to do so. These magnetic doors simply pop off, providing easy access to his water pump, his water accumulator. We have an additional plug here in the garage on a GFI. All right, if we pop the other door off, again, we got away with a lot more storage, outdoor shower plumbing, all of this very easy to access. Should anything need to be repaired, you have direct access to these things and should be no problem. This comprises the water side of the van. If we look at the power side of the van, similar concept. We have our bus bars off to the far left there, positive, negative bus bars, all, marine grade, large gauge wire. We have our 2000 watt Renogy inverter. And as we move a little bit further down, we have a Renogy solar charge controller with a solar cutoff. We have our alternator charger, Victron Orion, 30 amp alternator charging, and our AC DC fuse panel, allowing him to check fuses and turn on and off his 110 volt breakers. Again, everything very easily accessed, everything on a circuit breaker. All right, here I am in the rear of the van now. You'll notice here on the left wall, we have, again, a GFI outlet facing the outside of the van if this client were needing to plug things in from outside the van. We have another USB connection here if he happened to be hanging out back and wanted to set his phone here or iPad. And one of the things that we really liked in terms of how it came together is with this bed being a hydraulic bed and lowering and lifting, we wanted to give this client an ability to have some garage lighting. So we have this switch here, which will turn the lights on and turn the lights off. Again, if he's working at night in the dark and he wants to be able to access parts of his motorcycle or, you know, store things in his garage, he has an easy way to do that. In addition, once his doors are open, if his motorcycle were out back or he needed to illuminate the rear of his van for any reason, we installed these LED lights up here in the ceiling, and that will give him some additional lighting as well up in his ceiling area. As I mentioned, this client has a very heavy leather race suit that actually is ventilated and it requires power. So we wanted to give him a very strong, it's a very heavy suit, somewhere to hook his suit on and let it hang, and then a plug that allows him to plug his suit in and begin ventilating that suit out in preparation for his next time out on the track. We added a USB as well so he can access it from his bed. Let's talk now about his hydraulic bed or his mechanical bed. So this was all built out of a 1.5-inch extruded aluminum structure with bed panels, and we have our down switch here. So when this client is ready, you know, to check out for the night and wants to crawl up into bed, we'll simply lower the bed. This bed has both an upper and a lower stop trigger, so the bed will stop automatically at its highest and automatically at its lowest point as well. So there we go. As you can see, plenty of sleeping area lengthwise in the van. Definitely accommodates 2 people sleeping comfortably. And if you look over on the passenger side wall, you'll see a number of switches as well as another outlet, another USB outlet. The 2 black switches, one controls his living area lights, so he can turn those off without getting out of bed, and one controls these upper bedroom lights. So when he's ready to check out and go to sleep and wants a dark van, all he's got to do is flip those switches and both his living area and his bedroom lights go off and he's into a dark van. The reason that we also position the bed this way is so during the day when his motorcycle is outside the van, he has an ability to fairly easily get up in here, and it provides another seating area or quick nap or whatever. But we also made it so that when the bed is raised, the client still has enough space to sleep up here even with his motorcycle inside the van, which was a big thing for him, a reason why he wanted to do this and avoid hotel expense and going to hotels, leaving his motorcycle on a trailer outside. He can have the motorcycle in the van, raise the bed high enough to clear the motorcycle, and still have plenty of room up here to sleep comfortably with the fan on, with his AC on in the summer months, or with his heater during the winter months. We're gonna go ahead and raise the bed up now. Well, thank you for joining this video. We're really excited. This is our first time building a moto van. We're super hopeful that maybe this translates into more people being interested in getting out on the track with this sort of vehicle. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the post. And thank you for joining our Checks Vans video.